Hello, I am here with your Sunday, April 11th, 2021 tarot. And as you can see, we got the new moon in Aries happening today. Now the new moon in Aries, I'll talk to you about that in just a moment. But let's get into some of the more usual stuff. Using the Royal Gilded Tarot, I've done an off-screen pre-shuffle, and now we ask for our messages for Sunday, April 11th. Now, this new moon, for those of you who are maybe not as familiar with the moon cycles, the new moon is when the moon starts its new cycle. It is not visible to view from Earth because of where it is in its own orbit, not only around Earth, but just in its orbit itself, as the moon does have its own rotation. That's why we get the phases, as well as it moves around the Earth in like an elliptical or ellipse, oval type movement. That is information from NASA. And when we have the new moon, when we have the new moon, that is when the moon starts its new cycle. And that is when we ourselves, as humans, may be feeling a need to start something new. And we may really be feeling the need to start something new with this new moon, as it happens in the sign of Aries. Now, the moon did move into the sign of Aries yesterday, being April 10th. It is still in the sign of Aries today and into tomorrow before it moves into the sign of Taurus. And we do have a card of Taurus that has already come out. But that's, the moon in Taurus is happening like Tuesday. So we still have a few days of this fiery Aries moon energy. And what is happening, why this is so powerful, why this one is wanting us to really dig deep and start something fresh, is because we have the sun in Aries, we have the moon in Aries, which is a tag team. We also have Venus in Aries, which is motivating us in regards to something that we love. The cards are really wanting to flip over but not flip out. Maybe means that I need more time to talk about the moon. So Venus is in Aries and wants to really ignite kind of something that we love. This card kind of goes with one of the cards we have here goes with a couple that we're trying to flip out but didn't. I'm just looking at my notes here about this new moon. I do want to talk about it for a second. So Venus is ignited. We're feeling a little more passionate in our things that we love and show love to. We have Chiron, the wounded warrior. I was going to say wounded healer. The wounded warrior planet, or asteroid, I should say, is also in Aries, and that wants us to not be wallowing in our hurts and wounds and wants us to move forward. We also have Mars is in Gemini, which is a fire sign, gives us that little extra spark. And we also have Mercury in Aries. So our communication is very passionate. We're really wanting to burst forth in something new. So this is also a good time to be setting your intentions for things that you want to bring in. Now, there is a caution here with not rushing things. With all of this fiery Aries energy, we want to literally just jump in full force, head first, but we need to slow down a little bit. We need to get very clear on our intentions, particularly on what we want to bring in towards us, and even more specific is about our personal goals. This new moon wants us to put our personal goals to the top of the list. We have a tendency as humans to put that kind of stuff for ourselves lower on the list. Well, guess what? That stuff's got to shoot up and become a priority. We need to be assertive, but not overbearing or abrasive. So that's where Mercury in Aries can be a little bit harsh, is we can be abrasive in our speech. So just be a little bit mindful of that. All of this Aries energy, though, is going to give us a lot of motivation to start reaching and pursuing our personal goals, which is why it is so important to be clear on it. But this is some really good energy being brought in. It's going to give us a shot of confidence where some of us may really be needing it, and to maybe be a little bit bold, particularly when it comes to getting clear on what we want, especially when it comes time to reevaluating our relationships. Be clear. If you're wanting to bring in a new relationship, be specific. What do you want it to look like? So the good vibes here for all of this new beginnings is very important, because all of this Aries energy is a positive thing, and it wants us to have the best and to be putting our best foot forward. Now, off at the bottom of the deck, we have a fiery card, and that is the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands, a new beginning. Shocking, I know, to be happening on a new moon. Now, this new moon, just a quick heads up, the moon is at its peak, and this is going to be a super new moon, so we're going to be feeling this very strongly, is happening at 10:30. I have it written in the military time that it was given off the NASA web, or not NASA. Yes, NASA. The NASA website gives the times in military time or 24-hour clock, and that's 20 to 30 hours, meaning 10:30 p.m. Standard Eastern Time. So that is Toronto and New York time zone for anybody who needs a reference. And the moon is going to have its fullest impact into the early morning hours and the next full day of April 12th, and then we'll start waning after that. It is a super new moon, so that energy may hang around a little bit longer, but later in the day on April 12th, the moon does move into the sign of Taurus. But with this Ace of Wands energy off the bottom of the deck, we do have a new start, a new opportunity. It's a real spark. It's a fire starter. Whatever this is, it's going to give us a lot of passion to move forward. And if it's an opportunity, it's when you have to be bold, be willing to jump on it, because it's not going to stick around for very long. Up next, off the bottom of the deck, Major Arcana card, we have the Lover's card. Talking about that deep, fiery passion, even though this is the card of Gemini, an air sign, the Lover's card is that deep love. There is a lot of passion involved in it. It also talks about balance. So we have to be mindful to bring in the balance of, we can't let this spark of inspiration let us run roughshod over everything else. Even though we do have to be bold, we still have to keep in the back of our minds, okay, wait, slow down, because we do need to breathe here. But this opportunity, when it arrives, it's going to be a quick, all right, we may have to jump on this opportunity, but then we can slow down and really kind of take our time after that. We have some earth energy throughout the body of the reading, and that is going to help us put that brake on to not allow us be that runaway freight train. We start off with the Major Arcana card of Taurus, and that is the Hierophant. Very wise, seen as religious. A former key word is the Pope to describe the Hierophant. Now, the Hierophant is very wise, usually a mentor, somebody you can look up to. It is masculine energy. There's a lot of routine, a lot of self-discipline involved here, which is good to help temper jumping into an opportunity without thinking. Even though this Ace of Wands energy wants us to act quickly, you do have to take a quick second to pause and go, okay, yeah, I'm going for it. Or, ooh, you know what? Maybe I'll let this one pass. That is going to be very individual as to what your situation is. Up next, we have more earth energy. We have kind of the female counterpart to the Hierophant. We have the Queen of Pentacles. Now, the Queen of Pentacles, talking about your work, investments, your money, your finances. The Queen of Pentacles is softer, feminine energy. She's not as religious or disciplined. She likes the finer things in life, but she's very warm and welcoming and accommodating. Up next, we have the Three of Swords, talking about heartbreak. This is air energy. One of the cards that flipped out, but I didn't take because it just flipped around, it didn't flip all the way out, was the Five of Cups. So there is something that we're really guarding our heart against. We've had a lot of hurt, a lot of heartbreak. We're still feeling a little bit of grief and sorrow over it, even though this is possibly a wound that happened a long time ago. And we've got another card that we saw yesterday right at the end of the reading, and it's here again, Major Arcana card, happiest card in the deck. We have the Sun card. This is completion, it's joy, it's happiness. This heartbreak card, the Three of Swords, I do believe is something that was more in the past. We are wounding it. We are healing those wounds. I don't like using the term getting over it because that implies that you forget about it and let it have zero impact on you. And we all know that if your heart has been wounded, that you can't just be like, well, all right, you know, my relationship of a year ended and it's been 3 days. I'm just going to forget that it all happened. Though that energy was there. You do have to nurture it and heal it. You can't just move on. And you don't ever move on until you can kind of close that chapter for yourself. I know some people have been dealing with heartbreak for other situations. And even when the divorce is final, that court case is closed, there's no closure until you bring it for yourself. There is no outside closure when it comes to matters of the heart and your heart being broken and having that kind of deep wound. That closure is not a real thing that can happen from an outside influence. That's a tough thing to hear because so many people think, okay, you know what, when the ink is dry on the divorce papers, or I've got all my stuff back after I moved out, after living with my boyfriend for 2 years, once I move out and get into my new apartment, I'll be good. Like it's done. And it's not that inner closure. It's inner closure. You get that for yourself. And that helps wound or mend that wound. Altogether though, I do feel that this wound, this Three of Swords energy, it's an old wound. There might be a little bit of a flare up coming with all of this fiery energy, wanting to take this big push into something new, all of this new start energy. Some of that fear from an old wound might be coming up to the surface, but it's an old wound. Don't just push it down. If I could speak properly, allow yourself to feel it and mend it, nurture it where you need to in order to allow yourself that closure. Now, if you need to speak to somebody, whether that is a close friend, somebody whom you feel is very warm and nurturing, then talk to them if you have that type of relationship. Seek advice. It's perfectly okay to do so. And again, that advice can be from a professional or it could be from a very close friend. But with all of this energy here. We are starting to really dig in and go after the things that we want. There's an opportunity coming here, and it's going to have a lot of spark and desire attached to it. Don't let those old broken heart wounds stop you, or don't let that be the reason why it stops you. Let the reason why it stops you be something practical, like it would require $1,000 investment or down payment and you don't have the money. Okay, well, you know what? That's an opportunity you're going to have to maybe let go. But if you are putting the brakes on jumping into this new opportunity simply because it is out of fear, because it is bringing up an old wound, now's the time with this new moon influence. Might be a good time to push that fear down and jump in. Just know you might have to nurture that wound a little bit, but there is completion. There's joy and happiness at the end of all of this. When you take this opportunity, should it be practical, be ready to go. This is where the fun starts. This is where the ride starts. Remember when I was talking about that flippin' energy, all of this energy is going to start rolling? Well, this is where it all happens. So try not to let those broken heart wounds get in the way, and get ready for joy and completion and happiness coming up. There could be a reason to celebrate even with the Sun card energy. And this is energy that is closing out a chapter. As you can see, there's no cards of endings here. We've got completion and we've got joy coming with it. So I do believe we have finally shut the door on all of those endings, and we are getting the completion that we were looking for. I know this is a really long video, so I'm going to leave it here, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.